people of the internet, welcome back to Bridge Conversations, your best anchors from West Africa, Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria to be precise. We have the super amazing Anthony, and you have a Melanin Pumping, Sugar Daddy of Lagos, App Guru, Tech Bro, Matubobo on the MIC, how we do it. So this episode, we will be talking about recent things that are affecting us and affecting everybody, I guess. So we'll talk briefly about the exchange rate, which is very, very important, and how it affects the market at large. And particularly, we are streaming it down to how it affects those who sell gadgets and also tech products. I want to be serious with my life now because there's no fuel. The removal of subsidy. I don't have the luxury of time and the luxury of fuel, but it's still going to be very, very educative as always. So now I want Anthony to briefly talk about the MacBook Air 15 inches before we dive into the exchange rate at large. So Anthony.
I just want to talk for a few minutes about MacBook Air 15 inches. I know we kind of brushed it aside last time and we said it wasn't a good product per se, or it's going to fly under the radar. But I've since then gone to learn that it is not so much of a ride over as a product itself.
He's changing his mind, guys.
It has
Apple 1, Anthony 0.
Okay, so it has some advantages to it and why the product exists. Apple is a US company and they're based in US, and this characteristic is just for US buyers. So I know they have Apple stores in the US. We don't have such like that in Nigeria, but so you can walk into Apple store and ask for what they have. So what they've noticed, and I just learned this in the last few weeks. People walk into the store and ask, what is your cheapest 15-inch laptop? And the answer to that in recent times is the 16-inch MacBook Pro, M1 Pro. And those people walking into the store, they don't really need any of that firepower, or they don't need any of that machine processing. They just need a laptop that is big enough that they can watch their movies on or do whatever they need to do on. And the M1 is more than capable, and the M2 is more than capable, but it's just 13 inches, and they can't suggest that. So what they tell you is they now push it to the 16, tell you to buy that 16, and that 16 starts at nothing less than $2,500, which for someone walking in doesn't really make sense. They ask for cheapest MacBook and you're telling me $2,600. So to solve that problem is they just took the 13 inches that they had and just scaled it up, and it just answered that question very well. So when someone walks into the store now and asks, what is your cheapest 15-inch MacBook or cheapest 15-inch laptop? Then they have an answer for them. And it's also very cheap. It's also, I think it's $1,200 or $1,299. The 13 inches is 1,000. They're still selling the M1 for I think less than 1,000. I can't even remember at this point. I just said all that to say that this 15 inches is a good buy, a good budget for someone walking into the Apple store and asking for the cheapest 15-inch MacBook. And also, it's not like a replica of the 13 inches because as a bigger size, there are some things that are going to change because you have more room to put things now. They added 2 speakers from the 13 inches because now, of course, there's room to put that. And the speaker now sounds dramatically different. Not dramatically, but it's noticeable, very noticeable. It now sounds even as like the 16 inches M1 Pro MacBooks. It sounds deeper because the 2 speakers they added are like bass speakers and that. So, and again, because it's bigger, the battery is going to be bigger just to compensate for the bigger screen, because it still gives you like the same battery life with the 13 inches. But because it's a bigger screen and you have a bigger battery to drive a bigger screen, at the end of the day, you still end up with the same battery life of the 13 inches. 13 inches battery life is more than 15 hours, which is amazing, I think, for anybody buying any laptop anywhere in the world. You would, and M2, an Air is just a fanless design, very slim. Calm down. It's a fanless design, it's very slim, and you don't really need to push it to do so much more because people asking for this laptop, they don't really do much. They just need to do light web browsing, Excel here and there, and it is more than capable. So nobody needs to go and buy the 16 inches when they ask for a MacBook.
So Apple is
No, you were on the same page with me.
So Apple answers prayers now.
Is a waste. No, I'm saying I didn't know. I don't live in the US. I didn't know the. I didn't know the, what do they call it? The behavior of buyers over there.
Now you know.
Because they like big screens,
Yeah,
laptops,
actually, they
in the
love it.
US. So that's why this.
So that's
kind
why
of
when most Nigerians say this thing is too big, it doesn't concern Apple.
it doesn't concern Apple because they are not here. They're just third party selling stuff here. So I didn't know about the buyers' behaviors. That's why last week we were castigating that
That is
nobody
too
needed
big.
it.
Well, we
Nobody
as
needed it, and
Nigerians
it's
that
too
we are, we
and in Nigeria we dare not, so you can't
it's too big for us.
But so that is what it is. 2 speakers, bigger battery, and it answers the question: what is your cheapest 15-inch
Which is
laptop?
my laptop.
And then
So guys, thank us later because we just issued a disclaimer.
there's a disclaimer.
Yeah.
We were just hitting on reasonably last episode.
But now we have realized we've apologized.
We have more information now. We are changing our
We are
mind.
changing our mind about it. It's a very good one. It's a very good one, and
It's a good product.
and we know it's going to thrive in the market.
It's going to thrive actually in the US, but I don't know about Nigeria. I don't know about Nigeria.
So quickly, guys, our time is fast spent. So let's just quickly talk about the exchange rate and the effect on us. We generally as tech people.
Let me ask, why do we have 3 exchange rates? Why?
So basically, this is what we do. I want to correct.
I want to listen because I have no idea what's going on in this country now.
So let me correct Anthony. We do not have 3 years. We have multiple.
It's even more than 3.
We have multiple. So we use. Some people say we use a dual multiple exchange rate system. Some people say it's policy. So basically, there is a fixed exchange rate.
Who fixed that? Who fixed that one?
There is.
I'm just going to be asking questions because I have no idea.
And there is flexible. So the fixed is this. It varies when it comes to the currency.
Yeah.
Ghana cedis to Nigerian naira. Benin sefa to Nigerian naira. The US dollars to Nigerian naira. So Ghana cedis to Nigerian naira. I don't really know the rate as at this morning, but I guess sefa and naira now are at equilibrium.
Yeah.
That's the lingua. The
Going up, it was 0.3 to 1. That's 0.3 US. Whatever. As in, if you carry 1,000 naira and enter Benin that now, you will give you 3,000 naira. That's some currency. But now is if you carry 1,000, go
now your money.
1,000 to 1,000. So moving on.
So dollar is one we use basically for international trade. So when we go to the forex market, we trade basically with dollar. So that is why it is important, and no leverage and exploitations and Nigerian factor of the way we do things. So there is a CBN rate. That is the bank rate. That's what people call the bank rate of before the unification, which we'll go talk about much later. They said dollar was 485 naira, but in the black market rates, when we want to buy dollar, we buy sometimes at 730. That one it fluctuates. It's floating,
right?
Because it is not stable. So that is the flexible. That because we're having 2 kinds. That is flexible, but the rate at which it is going up and down, the curve. That's why we call it floating, because it is not stable. Even the flexible price is not a stable price, so that it is floating. So that's what has been affecting us, and we have these policies today and that policy tomorrow. And when you go to the bank, you cannot buy dollar, except maybe most times for education purposes and sometimes for tourism, which you have to get. There's something we call the Form A that you have to get, and you have to be on the queue, the EQ of when it will get to you. That is when the dollar will be provided, and there is urgent need for it. You need this urgent. If
person won't go do operation?
If person won't go do operation for health purposes too,
you can jump queue.
But most times we are very urgent that we have to go to the black market to get it.
Why is there queue?
So the reason why there is queue is availability mainly.
What's the problem? Is it? I don't understand. What's not available? Is it
I guess there is an amount that they can get at once. There's even a benchmark to it.
Why are they getting it from the US or how?
They get it from the CBN. That is the Apex Bank in Nigeria.
And it's CBN that is throttling the
they don't regulating the flow of dollar.
The reason they're regulating it is because they don't want our economy to spoil.
Yes.
they are regulating it, but it seems like it's still too, the circulation is still too little.
Yeah, it is not. It is not in circulation.
Why? What's happening?
There's another thing we call ording, which is very I guess everyone who does business will know about is that lingua ording. So there are some people that will go in, get dollar and keep.
I know why I've gotten it now. I know why. So some people get it at this CBN.
At this CBN, then they sell.
They will not
in
sell
the black
it in
market.
parallel market.
Yeah, parallel market. Don't let me use black market. Let me use parallel.
Why?
So it is. We are now having two rates that, as the name implies, parallel, that will never meet up. So what the new government is trying to do now, is they call it unification. They want to unify that rate. So now they said, let the central bank take a back seat.
Okay.
From being the one that will determine the flow.
The value, the price.
Yeah, the value
of dollar.
Let central bank sit down.
Let parallel market do it.
Not parallel market.
Another
the commercial
market
banks do it. So now it is like this. Before, all the commercial banks have the same price.
Yeah, I know.
Because the CBN told them to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But now, the CBN will not dictate to
the price.
Anthony Bank Limited or Macbook Bank Limited on the price that you should sell. So let us have an open market. Let Mr. A have dollar. Let Mr. B have dollar. Let the forces of demand and supply determine the price. So now that's why from the official rates we had before, immediately after that policy was made, dollar, even in the banks, went up as far as 686 naira. Like some days later, it went up again to about 767 naira at the commercial banks, not the black market now.
Black market,
as at then, black market was selling at 730. The bank was selling at what? 767. So you as someone who needs it, who wants to buy dollar, you will go to Alhaji Azan, for example, to go and get, instead of going to Bridge Plus Tech Bank Limited to go and get. So from there, it dropped the following day to about 737 in the bank.
Yeah.
As at yesterday, when I was trying to do some research as my first profession, and what I studied in school was economics, I confirmed that it was 861. So that's why I said the beginning will not be rosy. It is floating in a manner that we did not even expect.
Let me ask.
Okay.
So the unification now, the idea is to have one.
Yeah, it is to compete with the parallel market.
It's not competing. I don't go pass them.
No, this is it. It's like you.
Now parallel market go meet and now say.
No, let me use this layman.
Why did they not unify to 48? Are they unifying to 7 and 8, even 800? Was
okay? The US dollar, let me say in quotes now is the problem, because we are the one trading. So when there is even an inflation in the US, it is easily shipped around the world that people will trade. Okay, for example, look at China and look at the China-Nigerian trade that was signed some years ago.
Yeah.
That now will trade. Use your currency to pay us. You are not using that interface, which is the US dollar. In the US, you just get your money because it's your currency. We are the one here buying the US dollar.
You have to earn the money.
You have to earn it.
They just print it.
They print it. Force of demand and supply. If there's an high demand for it, it's just like normal goods and services. If there's an high demand for it,
people just finish your
people get it. But if there are no demands for it, no one will come for it. So it's now demand and supply will now determine the amount we will get dollar.
All right. So are we doomed to suffer in this country? Because all you're saying now is that we have to earn the dollar. Yeah. Because it's not our currency. We can't print it. Everything we do in this country is mostly imported. Yeah. So we have to continue to use the dollar to survive, at least for the first few years. Yeah. So ideally, the point is to get to where we don't need to import things and use dollar.
That is the main solution.
To get to that point, the demand in the market will reduce.
That is the solution.
And the price of the dollar will drop.
That is the solution.
in Nigeria.
So the solution to all this problem is we have to produce. We have to be a producing state. We are just consuming. We're importing pencils, we're importing toothpick. The solution rather to the problem is for us to produce so that we can compete
We move from
in the
consumption to production.
So moving from consumption mainly. So how does it affect us now? As
Yeah,
those,
well, a lot of ways.
so you see, it's
A lot of ways,
affecting the
because
marketing.
yeah, what we do here is not exactly agriculture.
Yeah.
Is tech, consumer tech, and high end at that point. So most of the stuff I'm looking at now in the shelf are made in the US.
Yeah.
Most of them. The rest are made in maybe China. Most of them are made in China anyways. So but when
it's owned.
it's designed and owned by US companies. And so for us to get them here, we don't have there's no I don't think there's any end to us buying from the US because of what we do here. But I'm saying as a state in Nigeria, as a state, as a country, we can reduce the dependency
of course
on dollar, because we don't all survive on tech. We survive on food, we survive on clothes, we survive shelter and other stuff, cement and everything we do. I don't want to even bring up this one because our episode will just become longer. So, but we survive on all those other things. But then, is there a point we will get to in Nigeria where we start making laptops and phones that are really popular?
Of course. We are in the season of hope now in Nigeria. So we can just only hope that we'll get there. But this is it. Everything still boils down. Now, like I usually say, it boils down to the government and the kind of leadership that we have. We are in a state where our leaders are working tirelessly to make sure that we attract a lot of foreign direct investments. We need foreign direct investment. When someone in Germany can just sit down and look at Nigeria is a good place for me to do business.
Investing.
Nigeria is a very good place for us to take down our new assembly plant.
Right.
Let us look at our neighbors here, Rwanda. Let us date back 7 years back and where Rwanda is now.
What did they do?
Leaders didn't do anything extraordinary than to make Rwanda friendly for investors rather, to come. So that is what we can do in Nigeria here.
For example, how can we do that now? Like, how do we get the first investment?
I guess an investor will look at the first thing an investor will look at.
Just before you answer, I know like some years back, many companies were leaving Nigeria.
Yeah.
The problem being mostly power.
Power, yeah.
Because they have to
generate their own
power, and that takes a toll on production and profit margins and everything. So, is it power do we need to fix to attract people? Because there are other factors that made them leave, but power seems like the most important and most recurrent one. What do we need to do now?
Power is important.
Yeah.
It is part of it. Another thing is security.
Yeah,
no one wants to come and bring billions of dollars to where it's not even about being kidnapped to a place where they tag not safe.
Exactly.
So a place where they tag dangerous. So the first thing person look at is security. Is my investment secured here? The other thing is their overhead costs generally, the operational costs.
Overhead costs is
as I'm saying, like when I say overhead and operational cost. And cost of producing,
operational power is an
which cost of producing also. Government generated power seems to be cheaper.
It's always cheaper.
It is cheaper and it is actually better also. So you come in and trying to generate your own energy, it is just too much and overwhelming for them. That might even kill the business at the long run. So now, so there's a new thing that each state now, and even some individuals, can produce and generate their own power by themselves. So any states that key into this almost immediately, or let me say, will attract foreign direct investments. For example, I guess Lagos State has started working towards that. They've been working on the ground since the bill has been in the House of Assemblies. Yeah. And immediately the bill was passed, they kickstarted immediately. So some people now will say that Lagos is attracting more. not knowing that Lagos has been working underground. So if other states too can work underground, instead of those companies to come majorly to only Lagos, it will be spread around. Now there will be some in the southeast, in the southwest, in the northeast, in the northwest, and security too is very important. It's just basically creating a friendly environment to do business. So we need just to produce more. And now there's even an increase in the amount of dollar that can be in your domiciliary account now. It is now up to $10,000, and even the withdrawals too has increased, which is one of the policies too. Opening the market. Now you can now withdraw more than, and I just hope that it is also integrated into online payments like we've been doing before.
Poverty is bad.
So just hope that we can make it very, very easy for people to do business, and very, very easy for we generally to grow as a country.
Like I said, poverty is bad. I didn't even know there was restriction.
And there was restriction on
because
I would never be going. There was restriction on the amount of dollar that can be deposited at once.
Yeah, some people don't know.
Some people don't know.
Because you never get dollar.
It's because information is key.
Not even information is key. You never get that kind of money first of all. Make them restrict you.
Not to deposit. Before we couldn't do more than
$10.
$10. Imagine. $10. While you want to pay for stuff, you have to use third-party apps. You have to use fintechs who have integrated payments. You have to use source for cards from friends who are living outside the country and stuff like that. So it's really affecting those who do tech in diverse ways, paying for courses online, buying gadgets online, even buying gadgets in dollar particularly. So you have to now go to the third-party apps or go to the private market to get dollar to transact business, which is not good enough. And in due course, when the competition starts, definitely things will change.
Okay, so describe the ideal scenario where everything now works, not too far in the future, like where this dollar floating now regulates, and then we now have one competitive price. What happens? When is that? How soon can that be?
It's the force of demand and supply. We leave that the force of demand and supply to play.
As of this morning, you said the market or the market was higher than the parallel market or the black market. So now, black market will want to equalize that. They will increase to, of course, very easy to increase.
The banker's price, let me say, will fall again.
And so when it falls,
that's the competition. When you say your own,
so at the end of the day, people will leave the higher one.
At the end of the day, the parallel markets won't be able to
survive because
to survive.
Will not go
yes,
to
that is the goal.
The goal. Okay, so and I don't trust bankers.
So that is why
I don't trust them. They will not be the new bureau de change.
Yeah, bankers have regulators.
I think CBN has left it to them now.
CBN took a back seat.
Okay. I don't trust them to regulate it. That's what I'm saying.
No, CBN took a back
because these people are human beings and they also want to make money.
Of course. Bankers, okay, even up to now, commercial banks are making money.
They've been making money. I'm saying they want to make more money.
Even with CBN regulating,
because farmers will make more money.
Farmers. That's the line time will do. Be warned. Be warned, my brother.
Sorry.
So CBN just took a back seat. The CBN is still the regulator, but they took a back seat. Like, let us leave this to the voice of the
So, worst case scenario, CBN is in the back seat, and these bankers just run wild. And
that's why CBN is the apex and the regulator.
Wait, and if these bankers run wild and dollar is at 1.5,
then we collect your license.
Okay.
So,
but now
let me say,
they'll do it together. You collect their license.
We cannot afford to devalue that much. It is going to ruin us as a country also. Look at Zimbabwe.
We are in pain at this point.
Look at what we are trying to do is we don't want to be a poor state. We cannot afford to be a poor state.
If I say I understand everything you have been saying, it just a little bit of a lie, but I understand most, but not everything. However, It's God that will help us.
It's just this. It's just
Because
this. Basically, the price is, at the end, at the long run, is going to fall.
I just hope it
It's
gets to
like
that point.
you selling for 740.
Yeah, of course. I know.
And I tell
I know what
someone
that
that,
is. I
so
know what
that's
that is in
just
the market.
so I want to leave it to the forces of demand and supply basically to play out. So it is now floating. It is an open market now,
So we
but
leave it
the
to
price
demand
has
supply, but
yeah.
demand and supply is also leaving it to production because if we don't produce,
Of
we
which we are not
continue.
stopping. We are not just doing that alone.
We are not
We are
continuing
producing.
exactly.
So
We
as,
are
so
because
as
we have
for
to.
our naira to be able to compete.
If we don't produce, it still falls back.
Yeah, so production
And
is key.
ah,
Production is key. So we just want to encourage and want to plead actually plead to the government to please make sure that an environment is created which will be very, very palatable for investors to come in and actually invest. And also, as a people and as Nigerians, we need to seriously wake up. This is not time for us to sit down and say the government should do it. Government cannot do it alone. We need to work also. We need to produce. Let us go back to the farm. Let us be an importing country, not let us be an exporting country rather, not an importing country. Let us export. By the time we go there and compete in the in
I
the
should
in
export Macbook back to where it came from. I don't
we
know.
have to produce so that farmers can make more money.
I'm not a farmer. I'm not a farmer.
That's
How?
something like that.
How?
But actually, it is the exchange rate, and it is going to it's
Okay,
affecting all aspects of life.
how do tech bro help? They have the skill to work in companies outside Nigeria, within Nigeria. They will be in Nigeria and they work in companies outside Nigeria. So how does that help the dollar? Do they because they are exporting their skills?
Yeah.
Does that have an effect
On us,
on us? Yes.
we are producing doctors here, and it's like we exporting. What are we getting in return?
And you can't export human beings now.
They're exporting skills, like you said.
And
They are
but
going to work. What are we getting?
doctors can't work
They
off
said
site.
the deputy governor said, "What are we getting in return?"
Doctors can't work off site like
So
tech
it is
bros.
actually boils down to we too as Nigerians. We go there, develop the country there over there, and we complain about ours. Look at a typical Indian. He goes out there, works, and what come back and invest it in his own country. There is this company Mitsumi,
Yeah.
which has their operations. I guess they're opening one of the biggest logistic company now in Dubai. They are phone distributors in Nigeria here. I guess they have their head office in Kenya, but they have their finance office back in India. Now India is one of, if not number one, between 1 to 3
Human capital export.
human capital exports. And look at their health, their health sector in India. Look at one of the we are talking about one of the best hospitals. And where do people go to now mainly to do surgeries? Because what they've gone there and they invested back in their country. So we as Nigerians too, we need to invest in our own country. It's right time for us we have to invest. We have to make sure our country is producing mainly. We just have to produce. China is producing. Japan is producing.
Of course, if men industrialists.
Even Malaysia, they are the highest producers of palm oil now. You cannot tell me we don't have palm oil here in Nigeria. Malaysia is the highest producers of palm oil today.
Let me not cry.
So what can help us with this exchange rate issue, if we don't want it to kill us and press our neck, is for us to produce mainly. We just have to be a producing
That's the
nation.
bottom line.
That is the bottom line. Thank you.
All right. All right. So let's just do trivia and close. Number one, what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? Number two
It's S now.
is SRV. Which company owns? Which company owns Hotmail, the internet-based email system? And number three, what product was originally called Soundabout when it was introduced in the US in 1970? I was like, All right.
Disclaimer, I'm not a tech bro.
So every time because you don't know anything.
I
Okay.
swear, I love it.
So yeah,
Right?
bring your answer out. Wrote he said oh there's a DS.
Yes, now that's security now.
Shut up. What's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS?
Secure connection.
Secure connection.
That's
I wrote
security.
security.
I like the S, and that's secure
Oh,
connection. I now.
The S score. Which company owns Ultimate? We both wrote Yahoo.
Microsoft. I want to Google before, and I'm
You know, if you Ultimate, Google don't be Google since. I know this thing now.
Okay, well, nothing.
Number 3, which product was
Sound about
originally
Yamaha,
called the Soundabout when it was introduced in the US?
Sony.
No,
I got it now.
Sony Walkman.
You said security.
Okay.
Sound about say Sony. Sound. They all been good in name.
I'm not supposed to be number 2. All right, so we've come to the end of today's podcast. Like we said, we want to be more consistent than what do they call it?
Than ever before.
No. We want to be more consistent and interesting. So every time, at least every 2 weeks, we'll be on your smartphone with new episode. Whether there's something to talk about or there's nothing to talk about.
So tell your folks that we should start thinking about producing.
Right.
Let's produce. God bless you. This is Bridge Conversations. See you guys next time. Kisses.